And good Sunday afternoon, everyone. This is John and Sean with Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports coming to you with our takes on Week 3. Here we had on Thursday we had Cleveland beat Pittsburgh. You and I both picked Cleveland that game, except for that late touchdown. You almost had the score prediction correct. So Sean, welcome to Week 3. What are your thoughts so far on your Vikings? And then we'll get into this week's games.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was gonna have the score predicted right, and then it all went haywire there late. Which is nothing new. It's my luck. But for the Vikings, I mean, it's just every week's a different week. You never know.
Yeah. So thoughts on that game? The Pittsburgh it was a close game throughout until that last turnover where they recovered it for a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect the Steelers to score a lot, but I mean, look, they started out they had the lead 14-7 or something, and then they didn't score the rest of the game until the end with a field goal. So I just have no trust in Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers offense. I really don't. I mean, Najee Harris is not going to just lose his starting job. He's probably going to end up being traded off the team because I think James Warren's going to come in there and take a starting role just because he's smaller and he's faster than Najee, and he could do the same amount of stuff as what Najee Harris is doing now, and they probably could get a pretty good return for trading Najee away, especially if they keep losing.
Yep, agreed. So let's start looking here. We'll look at some of today's games. Sorry, I'm tweeting some stuff out. Also making some clips of the show, so we could put up some little videos as well. I like your Najee Harris take there. I kind of agree, but don't agree. I think they would be stupid for trading Harris, but I would understand if they did. You can get something for him, and he's the kind of piece you can build around. But it's really going to depend on Pittsburgh what Kenny Pickett turns out to be.
At this point, Kenny Pickett could start week 4. I mean,
Tomlin already said no.
I just don't understand what you're losing the game and Trubisky's struggling. Like, at this point in time, you almost got to just throw him in just to see. I mean, that's back-to-back weeks that Trubisky has been horrible. Even week 1, he wasn't great. Mm-hmm. The defense won that week 1, and that's all it won.
I'll actually take a look at that. Let's look at the standings or the stats from that game. I'll get them up on the screen here. Box score. So Trubisky 20 of 32, 207 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So he didn't hurt the team. I don't know, was there any fumbles? Harris lost one, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's not doing anything. Now he's not helping the team win, but he's not doing anything to force them to lose either. 20 of 32 is not terrible.
No, it's not terrible, but you got to look at it. Look at the running back yards. You had 104 yards. Nick Chubb outrushed your whole team. If you're not getting any help from the team, I mean, that's 308 yards overall of offense. You just can't win games when you only have 308 yards, especially on the road. It's just, I don't know. I just don't think that the Steelers are going to have a great year. This could be the end of that streak. Last year, I kept saying they were going to break and they were going to have that losing season, and they shocked us the last 3 weeks. I think this year it is going to happen. I don't think that the winning streak is going to continue from, what was it, like 1999 or something?
Yeah, yep. So it was, yes, it's a long time. I know that. So, yeah, we'll see. Now, Tomlin did say that he's not making a switch yet for the Jet game. We'll see. It's Sunday, still a week 3, so he can change his mind tomorrow or any time up to the game, really. But so the Browns come back. Man, excuse me. The Browns bounce back from that terrible loss to the Jets. Brissett 21 of 31, 2 touchdowns. Like you said, Chubb 113 yards and a touchdown. Cooper with a big game, 100 yards and a touchdown. Njoku finally showed up. He's getting paid that big money, 9 catches, 89 yards, and that touchdown. So looking good there. With Brissett playing so well, do you think there's a rush to bring man, I just lost his name.
Watson?
Who?
Are you talking
Watson,
about
yeah,
Brissett?
Watson.
Yeah, Watson's going to start week 12 against Houston.
Well, we'll see. He might not be in game shape to get going there. So
you're paying the guy what, 200 and some million guaranteed. He better get in that game. He better be game ready.
And he might be game ready because I think I forget. I did see the date he's allowed to start practicing again. So it is like 2 or 3 weeks before that game. So
yeah, I think it's like week 8 or 9 he's allowed to start practicing with the team again.
Yeah. So,
but there's no reason why he shouldn't be sitting at home right now, still working out, doing his routines, like being game ready. If you're not doing that, then he obviously isn't trying to win. And honestly, say he comes back and the Browns are 7-4, 6-5. I mean, they could keep Brissett just as a 50-50 kind of thing, like switching them out throughout the game, keeping teams on their toes even. That could be an option even, is that if the Browns are winning a lot, you think about it, they should be 3-0 if they didn't fall apart there in a minute and a half with the Jets. They'd be 3-0 right now with a division lead.
Yep. So they're running backs. What do you think? I know Hunt wanted to ask for a trade before the season started. I haven't heard anything since, but do you think that's calmed down or No?
I still think he's going to want out. I mean, look at the difference right there. 23 carries for 113 yards, and then he has 12 carries for 47.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting a lot of targets out of the backfield, but Nick Chubb alone outrushed what he got for receiving and rushing yards. And you can't sit here and keep thinking that you're going to be a 50-50. If you wanted to be 50-50 with Nick Chubb, then you got to be out there performing and getting maybe 80 yards rushing, 85, not, 113 to 50. That's a 60-yard difference right there.
So let's take an early look at the early games here. We got Houston at Chicago, Raiders at Titans. One of those teams will be 0-3 unless for some reason there's a guy or a tie. There's a guy here. Nick, how are you? Going good? Thanks for stopping by. It's been a while since we've seen you. Hopefully things are good with you.
Yeah, I mean,
but then we have Kansas City and Indianapolis. Some of these teams are a must win, but because my Jets are on at 1, I'll be flipping back and forth with the Buffalo and Miami game. Man, with Buffalo missing 4 defensive starters today, I would not be surprised if Miami won that game.
Yeah, honestly, right now, just to recap the first 3 games there, the Houston, Chicago, that game there is going to be a battle of the defenses, I think, especially with Chicago's offense. There is no offense. That offense is horrible. Las Vegas and Tennessee, if Las Vegas doesn't win that game, I don't know what you're doing. If you lose to Tennessee after the first 2 weeks that they've had, losing to the Giants and then just getting absolutely rolled by the Bills in 2.5 quarters. They put up 40 points in 2.5 quarters on the Titans. If Vegas doesn't win, then honestly, trading for Davante Adams might have been a mistake because they've spent all this money and it's not helping the team. And then the third game there, Indianapolis isn't a must-win. I mean, I get it. They're in a bad division. Tennessee's 0-2. They're 0-1-1. Houston's 0-1-1, and Jacksonville's leading the division at 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville, they could have easily won that first week and be 2-0 and have a 2-game lead right now. And there's no reason why Jacksonville can't go win today if Justin Herbert were to miss a game or get injured again. So, and then looking at the Buffalo-Miami game, the highest scoring game of the day right there.
Right, agreed.
there's no reason why the over on this game would not probably be shocked if it's not over 100 points by the end of it combined.
Did you say 100 points?
I think 100 minimum.
So add a marker to that too, so we can make some clips. But man, I do expect it to be high scoring. 100's a lot. That's 50 a team. What was that text you sent me? Somebody won in college football. What was it? 98-0.
Not 98-0. They didn't cover the spread.
They didn't cover the spread. Nick says, yeah, I was at the Giants game, so I couldn't stop in last week. Oh, no worries. Hopefully you had a good time. That was against Carolina, I believe. So close game, kind of boring at times, but games are always fun to be at, especially when your team wins. So good for you there. And you guys have Dallas on Monday night. Where is that game? In the Meadowlands. So the Giants could be 3-0. I mean, we'll get to that one a little later, but Giants could be 3-0 there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked by it, honestly, if they are 3-0, if they can go beat Dallas.
So then we have I don't think he's here. Harold's a Lions fan. You're a Vikings fan. So what are you thinking? Good division matchup this week. Both games, I believe, came down to the last minute last year. With one, I believe both teams each won a game. So what are you expecting being the home team?
I don't really know what to predict anymore. The real thing is you got to stop Amon-Ra St. Brown. And honestly, Minnesota is going to give up the touchdown today, and he's going to break the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown. He's tied right now at 8. The record obviously is 9, and he's going to get that today. But for me, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Justin Jefferson could go out and have a 180-yard game again, and Amon-Ra could have 180 yards, and it mean nothing. It's hard to say. It comes down to it is the Vikings defense has to step up. Week 1, we played press coverage against the Packers, mediocre wide receivers, and then last week against top offense and Eagles, we played 10 yards off the ball and let up 10-yard plays one after another. So if they come out having 10 yards coverage, then Amon-Ra and Chark and Hawkinson are just going to be able to feed off of that all game long. So I honestly don't think that Minnesota can play that kind of defense. They're going to have to change the defense, or else it's just going to be a long season. After week 1, I thought the defense was changed, and week 2, it showed who the defense was again.
Yeah, we got Nick asking us a question here in a pickle right now. Pick 3, Bateman, Sanders, Patterson, Wilson, Jacobs, and Zeke. Lots of choices this week for me. Let me know. PPR, is it PPR, Nick? And then on the surface, man.
I think Bateman's a lock.
I agreed. Bateman's a lock.
And I would go with Pat.
Jacobs is with the team.
Yeah, but he's got an illness, so I wouldn't start him.
Yeah.
I would say if it's me, I'm going to go Bateman, Patterson, and Zeke. And I would say Miles Sanders could have a big game, though, too.
Because Wilson's going up against Denver, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so. Yes, PPR, he says. So, yeah, definitely Bateman. Let me put that back up there. Bateman. Yeah, like you said, Jacobs coming back from that illness. Probably stay away from him. I don't think the coaching staff likes Jacobs anyway.
No, I don't think so.
So, man, yeah. And who are the other two you said to start, Sean?
I would say Bateman, Patterson, and Zeke. That's my 3 options. And then Miles Sanders would be the 4th, but obviously you can only start 3, so I would just go with those 3. I think Zeke's due for a touchdown.
But they are playing the Giants. The Giants are pretty good now. On defense, anyway. Still got some struggles on offense, but yeah, definitely Bateman and Patterson. I lean more Sanders just because I like the Eagles' offense a little bit more than I do the Cowboys' offense. But Yeah, toss up there between Sanders and Zeke for that last spot.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Zeke's due for a touchdown. I mean, he hasn't had one yet this year, I don't believe. So it's only a matter of time. And against the Giants, he always has great games against the Giants.
So thanks for the question, Nick. We'll keep going through the games here. Baltimore heading to New England. I don't want to say must-win game for New England, but if New England wins this game, that still tells me they're a playoff team and in the upper echelon of teams. Where all preseason I've been saying that they're on their downfall, but yeah, your thoughts on New England and Baltimore?
If Baltimore doesn't come out today and just honestly play a great game, then and they were to win against New England, then I could see them honestly turning to stone after last week's meltdown. But if New England comes out today and just runs and throws all over Baltimore, then I think Baltimore honestly is going to fall apart, and Lamar's not going to want to return there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't sit here and keep having bad games.
But he's going to be
defense.
He's going to be franchise tag next year anyway, so it's not going to matter.
He already said he's not going to play under it. So I mean, look at Deshaun Watson and everyone else. They've Le'Veon Bell. Even though you franchise tag them, it don't matter. They still have to show up.
Mm-hmm. Nick says, yeah, right now I think I might run with Patterson, Bateman, and Sanders. Starting Zeke scares me because of Pollard.
Yeah, that's the problem is Pollard's there, but Pollard also hasn't had the big yardage like they thought they would. And Michael Gallup's back this week, so Pollard might not get as many receptions out of the backfield, so that could help Zeke getting more rush carries.
Mm-hmm. So then my Jets are home for the Bengals this week. We beat the Bengals last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bengals offensive line is all banged up. They spent a lot of money this year rebuilding that. They're banged up, and Burrow, I believe Burrow has been sacked 13 times already this year. So I took my Jets are home and the underdog. So we do our underdog and locks of the week, and the Jets are my underdog to win this week. Even straight up, no points, betting points. I think the Jets will come out and win this game. A win like they had last week in Cleveland could put a team on a streak, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win this week and next week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think next week's a lock against Pittsburgh, honestly, overall. This week's going to be a struggle. I think Cincinnati's going to have a chip on their shoulder starting out 0-2 and being the defending AFC champs. So I could see them coming out and just throwing up the ball a lot to Jamar Chase and Higgins and Boyd. And that could come with a lot of turnovers. I mean, this is the week that Sauce Gardner is going to have to learn the ropes and see if his touchdown streak comes to an end, because I'm pretty sure he's probably going to guard Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. I mean, he gets a lot of targets. So Sauce Gardner could have 3 interceptions today, or he could go 3 touchdowns.
Yep. So I'll be watching that game. Finally get a Jets game here where we live, so I'll be watching that on the big TV. Philadelphia and Washington. Man, early division battle here. Washington made a comeback last week, almost pulled that out, but Philadelphia has looked really good the first 2 weeks. So I expect another Eagles win here. But your thoughts on the game?
I expect the Eagles to win, but I know Washington's a 7-point underdog in this game, and it's hard to say that Washington's a 7-point underdog when Carson Wentz is the quarterback. The Eagles' defense could give up enough points for Washington to stay into it, and also for Washington to get a turnover or two. But I just think the Eagles' offense with Jalen Hurts running is so lethal right now. My only concern for the Eagles and the Eagles fans, Jalen Hurts running as much as he is, 10, 15 times a game, he's going to get hurt. I mean, Lamar Jackson did it last year and the year before when he won his MVP. He he runs a lot, and then at some point the injury does happen. And last year, look what happened with Baltimore when he got hurt. They fell apart and they couldn't win. So the Eagles are going to have to keep a close eye on that, because if he keeps running as much as he does, it's going to hurt.
Let me just look here. New Orleans and Carolina. Carolina's in trouble. Already some rumblings that they might move on from Matt Rule. Some colleges have called wanting to know what his status is. So I expect the Saints to win this game as well. Carolina's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina doesn't fire their coach if they lose maybe this week and next week. I mean, it might be the earliest firing in history, really, for a team to fire that coach that fast early in the season. But, I mean, Baker Mayfield takes 2 quarters just to warm up, and in the second half, they're a different team. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey, throw the ball to him. I mean, I just don't understand it. He keeps throwing these ducks in it. It's like, they just die. Like,
yep.
I don't understand it. I mean, Baker Mayfield has the arm, has the probability to be a great quarterback, and he just falls apart every week. And New Orleans' defense isn't great, and their offense is really bad. So this honestly could be a 16-13 kind of game. A lot of field goals.
Yep. Okay, I agree with you there. Big game here, Jacksonville and the Chargers. Still no word on Herbert. He's trying to play in our dynasty league. He's my quarterback. I already benched him. I can't take that gamble this week. I'm waiting until 4 o'clock to see if he plays.
Yeah, I asked you earlier, and I was like, in one of my leagues, I have Herbert, and I was like, what do you want me to do? And then I had between him and Tua, and then you said Tua, and then with also on the Chargers game, I have Herbert at my quarterback, and I have Keenan Allen at my wide receiver in the same league. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do with Allen right now. Like, I have Sterling Shepard, of all people, on the Giants sitting on the bench waiting to use. I'm like, I guess he might get used, because Allen's got a hamstring injury, and even if he plays, he might only get like 3-4 targets.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so we'll keep an eye on that. Could come back to bite me for benching Herbert, but
hey, you got to take the risk versus reward.
Being this late, at least it's early in the season.
The problem is that if you start Herbert and he's out,
right,
and you have no other quarterback, you have no one else to throw in. What are you going to do? I mean,
my other quarterback is Matt Ryan, and he's playing at 1 o'clock. So
yeah, that's my issue. Is my other quarterback's a 1 o'clock guy, and it's just, you never know.
Yeah. So let's keep moving here. The Rams and Cardinals. Cardinals with the big win, comeback win last week as well. Last week was the week of comebacks. They were down 20-0 to the Raiders, came back and won that game. I believe on a defensive score, right?
There was a fumble recovery off of Renfro, who is out this week for Vegas as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, Los Angeles is I don't know what to even say. I mean, they were up 28-3 last week on the Falcons and gave up 25 straight points, and they got outscored 25-3 at the end of the game. Wow. And the Falcons, if it wasn't for a Hail Mary and Jalen Ramsey interception there, they could have lost that game. I mean, I don't think the Rams team is as good as we thought they were, or we expected them to be. I mean, honestly, when it comes to the NFC side, I think right now the Eagles are the best team on the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I mean, it's sad to say that, but I just think that right now they're the most complete team.
Yeah. So I'll have to look. I'm not sure what game we get out here. 4 o'clock, because Philadelphia's playing at 1. So
Green Bay, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'll probably just put on
and
Red Zone.
It's supposed to be a tsunami in Tampa Bay at that time of the game.
Oh, man, there's been some bad weather games so far this year. But let's keep moving here. It's only 20 after. I thought we were later than that. But for the people that are here, post a comment, ask a question. Sean and I live stream every Thursday at 7, getting you prepared for Thursday Night Football. We usually live stream during the game as well a little bit, at least covering up to the first quarter or somewhere in that range. And then Sundays at noon, answering questions, looking at any injury updates, which we'll do here in a second. But yeah, if you got any questions, post them there in the chat. And if you would, give us a follow. And yeah, thanks for being here.
And then
we got Atlanta and Seattle. So what are you thinking there?
I don't know how Seattle's a favorite. I really don't. I mean, they're only a 1-point favorite, but Seattle, I think week one had so much energy going into that game against Denver. They got outplayed by Denver. Denver really just killed themselves. Denver should have won by 3 touchdowns. But I think Atlanta, honestly, is a good team. I mean, week one, they fell apart. Week two, they almost had to come back against the Rams. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Atlanta doesn't win this game by 2 touchdowns. I really wouldn't be shocked by that. I think Atlanta is a good offense, but where's Kyle Pitts?
Right.
Has he gone missing? Is the wanted poster up for a missing tight end? Because he's just gone. I mean, I have him in our dynasty league, and I benched him. I can't play him anymore until I see something different. Like, it's just he's horrible, and then I can't keep depending on him. And honestly, I just think that Mariota is going to keep taking the rushes away from Patterson, but I still think Patterson's due to keep having big games in the rushing game.
And Patterson can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. So,
yeah, and what hurts Seattle, they don't have a running game. Geno Smith runs. He doesn't really run that much. He's a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Rashad Penny is been missing this year, but he was great last year with the same team. And they have Ken Walker now, who coming back last week as a rookie, coming back from his injury, and he barely touched a ball. And if you're a defense, all you got to do is stop DK Metcalf and block it, and where are they going to go with the football? There's nowhere else to go. I mean, that's the problem with Seattle is if you don't have a running game, your receiving game's not going to matter because they're just going to be able to double up on that, knowing that they can stop your run whenever they want.
So let's look. Green Bay and Tampa Bay. You said it's supposed to be pretty bad weather down there. So I'm not sold on Green Bay yet, even though they won last week. Tampa Bay, great defense, and still with Tom Brady at quarterback. So I'm expecting Tampa Bay to win here. But your thoughts on that game?
This game could go either way. Green Bay could win by 2 touchdowns. Tampa Bay could win by 2 touchdowns. For me and my personal preferences, I hope Tampa Bay wins. I really do. I mean, I'd love seeing Green Bay lose. It's fun. But I really don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't figured out his receivers. Mm-hmm. I thought Allen Lazard coming back last week was going to be great, and he had, 1 catch for 9 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. I mean, you can't have those kind of games if you're the number 1 wide receiver. But you did send out in our Discord on Friday the tweet of the year. I called it in preseason. I called it all off season. Sammy Watkins is already injured, and he's out for 4 weeks. Yep. I already said he was going to be injured by week 2. I wasn't wrong. He was injured already.
Yep. So not looking good there for the Green Bay wide receivers. Yeah. Sunday night we got San Francisco and Denver. Denver, I don't know what's up with Denver. And I believe Judy's hurt, right?
Yeah, he got injured last week on the first play of the game on offense for the Broncos. And so for me, I think Courtland Sutton's got to step up. Courtland Sutton and Javonte Williams are going to have to step up and have bigger roles in the game, as well as Melvin Gordon. But for me, Jimmy G is the guy to watch. I think Jimmy G is going to be back. I think that I just saw a thing. He's 31-14 as the 49er starter. And I don't understand why they hate the guy so much. They've been to the playoffs, 4 times with them, an AFC champion or an NFC championship game twice, a Super Bowl once. Mm-hmm. And I think every time he's made the playoffs with the Niners, they've made it at least to the second round past wild card weekend.
Mhm.
So why do you hate the guy so much? And especially now, the 49ers with Jimmy G in a division where the Rams are questionable, the Cardinals are very mediocre, and I just went brain dead on the other Seattle.
Seahawks, yeah.
Seattle is probably the last place team.
Mhm.
So I just think that Jimmy G is honestly destined to maybe take it to the playoffs.
So then we end week 3 with Dallas at New York. New York, two close victories. So man, I don't know. Not surprised that they beat Tennessee in week 1 because my Jets beat Tennessee last year. So, and I've been saying all offseason that I'm not sold on the Titans. Tannehill's trash. And
Tannehill
then,
got benched, and Tannehill got benched in week 2 to a rookie quarterback who honestly is going to take his starting job by week 8. I
yep.
think between the Steelers and the Titans, there's a quarterback change by week 8.
So, but speaking of quarterbacks, Dallas has got Cooper Rush, and nobody expected them to do well last week, and they beat the Bengals. Now that they were home and they beat the Bengals, so don't know who's going to show up for Dallas or the Giants, but it's a division game, and usually division games are good matchups, no matter how good or bad teams are. So
honestly, the Giants, I think, are going to win this game on Monday Night Football. I do think so. I think they're going to go to 3-0, and their schedule looks favorable that they could honestly win next week as well, looking ahead. And then they go into like a tougher part of their schedule where,
yep.
I think they could win next week, but then they go into Green Bay, then they play Baltimore where it's – but then when they go to Jacksonville, then they have Seattle, Houston, Detroit. There's 3 more winnable games.
And Dallas again.
Yeah.
And Washington.
Dallas is the Thanksgiving Day game. So honestly,
it is.
I think the Giants could honestly would start in 2-0. If they go 3-0 today, they could honestly start the season 4-0 and be in the right way in the right control for their own destiny later on in the season. And I mean, and with flying over to Germany for the Green Bay game, you never know what could happen. Jet lag on the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you never really know what could happen with that game. So honestly, if the Giants win tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, I think anything's looking forward for the season.
Yeah, man.
And I asked you earlier, I said, what jersey am I wearing today? And you're like, probably somebody you don't even cheer for. And I had to.
No, I said a team you don't cheer for.
Oh, I picked the guy that I cheer for.
Who cares? You don't win opposing teams' jerseys.
Always do.
No.
Always wear someone your favorite if.
No.
I'll get the next local guy. I'll get Dotson jersey next for
the
Commanders.
Then I'm buying you an Aaron Rodgers jersey.
No. I need a good fire starter.
Oh man. So let's take a look. That was the rest of the week 3 schedule. Let's take a look at how Sean and I have done with our Thursday night picks, our lock picks, and upset picks. We're not doing too good, bud. We're both 3 heading into the week. We were both 3-3 on the year. We both won Thursday night, which makes us both 3-0 on Thursday night. So 3 of our 4 wins have been on Thursday night. So we need to step up our games with the upsets and locks.
Yeah, I went with my upset. I said it 1 point underdog, obviously, in Atlanta. I do think Atlanta is going to be able to control this game. I do think so. I look for a lot out of Drake London today. I do. I think Drake London's going to have his best game so far in his young career, 3 games. I know it's hard to say, but I expect him to have a 100-yard game today. I do. I think that he's going to expose the Seattle defense. And then my lock of the week, it's pretty simple. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to control the game against Indianapolis. I just don't think Indianapolis is anything decent. I don't know why, but Indianapolis, I think maybe changing a quarterback too often, but they're just very mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So for my upset alert, I picked the Jets at home this week. They beat Cincinnati last year. The Jets are a better team this year than they were last year, even without Zach Wilson. And the Bengals' offensive line is banged up. So I think the Jets' pass rush is gonna get to him today. So we'll see, though. They're going to have to do some quicker passes. So if the Jets, like you said with the Vikings last week, if the Jets are playing off man, those guys are going to be open and get some yards without getting sacks. So the Jets are going to have to play bump coverage and try to limit those catches to force some pressure by the defensive line.
Yeah, and I just saw the Bengals head coach Zach Taylor actually said that look for Jamar Chase to get targeted early and often. That they said they want to control the game by Jamar Chase being the center of attention. So
they say that every week.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying what the TVs are reporting. I mean,
they say it every week.
But no, I think the Jets could compete. I think it comes down to it is that Joe Flacco can't have turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have to control that part of the game. And I'm looking into the Jets, and I want to see Breece Hall step up. Mm-hmm. I want to see him start getting the rushing and receiving yards, 75 to 80 a game combined, like 80 and then go from 80 to 85, 90. Like you gotta, if you want to be the starting running back over Michael Carter, at some point you're gonna have to take that next step forward and start seeing the field more. Late last week in the Browns games, he did score a touchdown, and he had a big run. I think it was like 25-yard run or something late there in the fourth quarter. So he's got to take that from last week, and he's got to put it to this week where the Bengals aren't as good. And then for me, the Jets defensive line is going to have to get after Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's been sacked 16 times in 2 weeks this year, the season. It's crazy to think that he's on pace. I think I saw for 114 sacks this year as a quarterback.
Right now, if the screen says Joe Burrow seeking his 4th straight road game without an interception, so it doesn't turn the ball over on the road. So
Sauce Gardner's got to step up, get that interception,
get that pick. So, but then for me, my lock of the week, San Francisco going into Denver. With Jimmy G being back, this team was going to compete for a Super Bowl. And Denver, I don't know what's going on with Denver. Things don't seem right. Not to say that they're having troubles in the locker room or anything like that, but it just doesn't seem like they're a team yet. So that's why I expect San Francisco to go in there and beat them. It's a road game for San Francisco, but San Francisco to Denver is not that far of a flight, so it's not like they flew east to play Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't I'm so confused by what the Broncos are doing. I just don't get it. I thought for sure they'd come out firing on all cylinders. I mean, they barely beat the Houston Texans last week. It's just they're struggling horrible. I mean, the Broncos are struggling pretty much as bad as the Titans are struggling for an offense and defense right now.
Yeah. So, anything else on the games before we move on to some of the stats so far this year?
No, I mean, I would say let's look over some stats.
So let me make this bigger so we can see it on screen. All this stuff is on our Discord as well, so you guys can click. Now I don't know why I think if you guys click on it, the logos don't show up. So I'm going to have to find out why that's happening. But here we got quarterbacks right now. Joe Flacco leads in completions. Besides Flacco being up top there leading everybody, does anybody else surprise you on that list?
Carson Wentz, I think, is the other guy that's really confusing to see on the list. I just think that you look at that and him being on the list. And then if you look over at the completion percentage, Geno Smith's completing 81%. That's great, but you're only throwing 20 times a game.
Right.
I mean, you're not – look at the guys below him, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Herbert. They're throwing 45 times a game.
Right. Yeah.
And look at the passing yards. I mean, the teams that are winning every week almost are competing for a win are the guys that are up top. So that's what you got to see. And then when you look out towards the bottom, Matt Stafford with 5 interceptions, Joe Burrow with 4, Matt Ryan with 4. 2 of those teams are 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not helping your team win at all.
Right.
So if you're making yourself having turnovers, you're not helping your team ever win. So you gotta look to help your team win somehow, and by not turning the ball over is the big thing.
But yeah, and going for passing touchdowns, kind of the same with Wentz being a shock. 2 games in, we got 4 guys tied at 7, but the other 3 guys don't surprise me: Allen, Mahomes, and Tua.
Tua just drew for 6 last week.
Well, that's surprising, but man, Baltimore. I don't know if they gave up. I don't know what happened.
I think they went into sleep mode. I mean, I don't know what their game plan was there, but that was bad.
So let's look at the quarterbacks with rushing yards. Right now, Hurts and Jackson, both at 147 and 136. Would you want your quarterback running the ball that much?
No.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that's too much.
I don't like it, and I mean, there's no reason why you should have 150 yards rushing. I mean, you're leading your own team with rushing yards. It's
Some Liquors here. What's up, buddy? Here, let's go Jets, baby. Yeah, let's go. What a win last week. Great comeback. What was funny is I'm sitting here watching the game, and I thought to myself when he missed the extra point, I'm like, man, if we can get a touchdown and an onside kick, we can be in this. And we get that touchdown. They completely blow the coverage. And then if you look at the defenders, even after, like nobody ran after him on that 66-yard bomb. Like
no, they were just gone. There's just no one in sight.
Yep. And then Cleveland doesn't know how to cover onside kicks. They almost lost this week too, because Pittsburgh couldn't get the ball and it went out of bounds.
Yeah, it's bad when your team is that bad at doing their own jobs.
Need help at flex, full PPR, Lockett or Dameon Pierce?
Lockett. I'm not even going to compete with that one.
Why? Why Lockett? I think San Francisco is going to shut Seattle down. Where Houston could win.
Lockett or Dameon Pierce. Lockett's on Seattle. I think Atlanta's going to give up more yards than him. Dameon Pierce is against Chicago.
Right.
I don't see Chicago giving up rushing yards. I mean, I don't know. I just think Lockett would have a better game because Pierce also shares the backfield with Burkhead.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my only concern.
That's what we thought last week, and Pierce had the better game. So had Nick Chubb, so it was a win-win. Yeah, in our dynasty league here, I had Nick Chubb as well. So the 3 touchdowns did not hurt.
In the sleeper league, it was for me.
If Nick Chubb goes down at the 1-yard line, we don't talk about a Jets comeback.
Yeah, and in our sleeper league, I played you last week, and Nick Chubb. You're like, oh, he's going off for dynasty. Oh, wait, he's hurting me. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's fine with me. Keep going.
I think 3 of the guys I had in dynasty league that went off, you had against me in the for here. So
yeah, because you have Alma, I have Alma. You have Chubb, I have Chubb.
Yep.
We were going back and forth who wanted to have the most points. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm okay with it.
So sorry, I laugh every time I say it, but what are you expecting out of today's game? Jets Bengals. The Jets are my upset pick of the week at home, getting 6 points. I'm taking that all day. I think we win the game outright, let alone being the underdog at home.
I actually have a fantasy question for myself. I want to ask you and see what you think.
No,
Who would you start?
I don't answer your fantasy. It better not be NASCAR related.
No, it's football. Who would you start at running back if it was your team? I have Dalvin Cook, David Montgomery, or Javonte Williams.
And you only get to pick one?
Pick two.
And is it PPR?
Yep.
Well, Williams and Cook then.
Williams and Cook.
Yep.
Now I have for my flex spot. Then I could use Montgomery. I could use Dotson, or do I start Debo?
Oh,
knowing that Jimmy G is back, I have Dotson. I have Montgomery to pick from. DJ Moore, or I had Debo in there. I had Waddle, but I moved Debo down because I figured he is the 8:30 game, and at least then I can move people around at 4:00 maybe.
Ooh, let's look at our projections here for wide receiver, right? So who's the first wide receiver?
I have Debo Samuel.
Who we have projected at 17.5 points. Tough matchup this week.
I have Jahan Dotson.
Playing the 18th ranked team, only projected at 9 points this week, though.
But I figured Darius Slay is going to be on McLaurin, so that could lead for Dotson to get more, kind of like Jefferson last week as well. My other people are running backs. I have Montgomery to pick from, which is right there, 16.9.
16.9 so with a good matchup. Houston gives up a lot of points to running backs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe start him over Debo, just because Debo, it's hard to say with Debo what he could have with the Broncos. The Broncos did shut down Metcalf. They did shut down Lockett week 1.
Right. And who was your fourth player?
DJ Moore. But it's the Panthers. It's hard to say with the Panthers.
I would stay away from Moore.
Yeah. Until I see something coming up, it's hard to say I want to go near him.
I like Montgomery this week there, so I don't know if you can get.
I do have. I also have other running backs like Michael Carter on the Jets, but again, it's hard to say what he could do because Breece Hall could have a breakout first half and Carter's irrelevant then.
Yeah. So, you only get to pick one of those guys.
That was one of my flex spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd go Montgomery there. Oh man, Bateman or London at wide receiver 3. I assume it's PPR. Yeah, definitely if it's PPR, definitely go London.
Here.
And then at flex, either a Bate, London, AJ Dillon, or Michael Carter.
Oh, yeah, he could pick 2 for flex and 1 for wide receiver. So I go Bateman at wide receiver because he's at 1:00. Right. And I would go London and AJ Dillon for your 4:00 games at your flex spot, because if anything were to happen, you could swap out one of them. That would be my option. I would take those 2 and move them around for that purposes there.
So yeah, he says yes, PPR. Man, so thanks for the questions. Hopefully that helps. I'll go back through and mark all these questions down to see how we did. Sean, last week we did not have a good week in our start sit questions. So
we struggled last week bad.
Hopefully we get better this week. You just sent me a message. You said you had a question.
No, that was what that was about. What I was asking you.
Okay, got you. He said which 2 were flexes.
I would go with AJ Dillon and London as flex, Bateman at wide receiver.
Bateman at wide receiver, right? Yeah, getting to start both Bateman and London. When I first saw that question, I'm like, "Ooh, man, that stinks," because I like both of those guys today. So,
like I said earlier, I think London has a 100-yard game.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me for London having a big day today. He says, "Okay, cool, thanks." Yeah, Thumb Liquor, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's go Jets today. Hopefully we get that win. Man, 2-1. Last time the Jets started off 2-1, Sean. What year? Talk to me.
2-1, 2012.
2015.
I was pretty close.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was our quarterback.
It's Fitz magic. Now, I was just guessing there. I figured it was around that time. Figured it had to be the Ryan Fitzmagic or Mark Sanchez era.
Yeah. So, he said, "Yes, sir. Have to start Bengals defense against us in one league. We're still hoping we get the dub."
Do you have anybody else you could pick up?
Yeah, I don't like the Bengals defense at all today.
If you could pick somebody up, I would pick somebody up. I mean, is the Raiders defense available? Even the Jets defense.
Right. Yeah, man. The Jets got to get that defensive line going, and if they can, this is the week to do it. The Bengals are giving up a ton of sacks. So, but once again, thank you. If anybody is new here, thank you for being here. Sean and I live stream every Thursday at 7 Eastern time, talking Thursday night football, taking all your start-sit questions. Top waivers are Panthers, Seahawks, Giants, Bears, and Falcons.
I would go Falcons. Falcons against Geno Smith. You're not giving up many points, and you probably have a lot of turnovers coming your way.
But he says the Raiders are available.
I like the Raiders against the Titans.
Yes, I love the Raiders against the Titans today.
If this backfires, I'm going to feel really bad if you lose.
Oh, man. So, man, all right. Thanks for the questions. Keep them coming. Let's look here. Let's look.
It's almost football time again.
It's almost football time.
It's almost time for 8 hours of continuous football again.
Well, not because, like I said, we're getting. At least I don't know about you. I'm getting a Jet game up here, so I'll definitely stick to that game until it's over, and then I'll flip over to. I'll put it on my phone to watch the rest of the stuff, but.
No, I'll be watching NFL Red Zone, and then I won't be talking to you about it because I know you hate how much I talk about it, so I won't text you about anything.
You won't text me about anything?
I'll text you about some stuff. I'll text you about something, I'm sure.
Let's look here. At tight ends, we got Kittle coming back this week. That's big for my Dynasty League.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
We got Palmer, the Loot Gobbler, Lurk. Hey, everyone, just stopping by to say hello. And Lurk, I hope you have a great stream. Oh, thank you for being here. Thanks for the Lurk.
No, my thing about the Kittle is I just don't know how much he's going to be into the game. I mean, with Jimmy G, there's good connections, but how healthy is he going to be? I mean, how much until he gets banged up?
No,
that's my only concern.
Thumb liquor, absolutely. Keep them coming, bud. That's why we're here.
I enjoy questions.
And super flex. Oh.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, agreed. I don't like Geno at all today.
I'm just gonna go with Daniel Jones just for the fact that he's got a better arm.
Yep.
And he can also take off running at any point in time and do whatever he wants on the game. So I like that. I like him more than I would like Geno Smith. If you have any other options, Winston and Baker, I'd probably pick up Jameis Winston.
Who are the Saints playing?
The Saints are playing the Panthers.
I know Winston's banged up.
So yeah, Winston's banged up.
Or Cooper Rush. I want to take. I'd go out of those 5 guys. I'd go Daniel Jones out of those 5 guys you listed.
Now, I would keep Daniel Jones there, but if Justin Herbert isn't playing, pick up the backup for Justin Herbert. I would think that if Justin Herbert doesn't play today, the next best option is the backup to him.
Yep. So, or Cooper Rush, you said, yeah. So, let's look at tight ends here. Kelsey with a good matchup, favorable matchup this week. Already number one at tight end, and should increase that lead. Andrews got a tough matchup this week against New England. Same thing
Yeah.
with Goddard, Ertz. All these guys have tough matchups this week.
Yeah, honestly, the guy that's been a shock to me at tight end so far this year. There's two people. One of them is Evan Ingram on Jacksonville. He's been getting, I think he's averaging 6 targets a game right now, and he's getting, I think, averaging 4 receptions right now in those 2 games, and he's got a touchdown already. So I look for that. For me, and the other guy is Logan Thomas on Washington, also getting a lot of targets in his way. And he's been getting everything he's pretty much getting targeted has been a reception. I think he only has like 2 incompletions so far. So I like that too. I think that helps out a lot. See Logan Thomas over there has a touchdown. I thought Evan Ingram did, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
No, just because I don't have him on, I just put the top 10. So there might be more guys with 10. So
yeah, but see, even right there, look at Evan Ingram. He's 4th on receptions. That's crucial. And then Logan Thomas, he's 10th there on receiving yards at 82. I mean, obviously the top 3 to 4 there, you're not really going to be competing with, because those are guys that are getting the ball 10 times a target in a game. But for Logan Thomas, I mean, that's not bad at all, I don't think.
Yep. Agreed.
And obviously, the rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns, you're not really going to compete with Taysom Hill.
No.
The guy's a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, tight end. He's a kick returner, a punt returner, specialist. I mean, if he has to go out there and kick the ball, he probably will for an extra point.
So right now, somebody who's off to a bad start this year. Look, Kyle Pitts, he went what, number 3 in our draft here for the
he
site?
went 3rd overall.
He's number 43 in tight ends.
Kelsey hasn't, or not Kelsey. Kittle hasn't played a game. He's 72nd.
Right.
Well,
that's the 72nd tight end, not 72nd overall.
Yeah, 72nd tight end. I mean, that's what I mean. He's only 30 behind Pitts, who's played 2 games and gotten 10 targets average.
Yep.
I mean,
I do have it there. Targets per game.
I'm glad somebody else drafted him 3rd overall, because I was gonna get him like maybe 5th round, 6th round. Like,
Thumb says, should I drop Geno for Jameis? He's my QB3.
Go ahead. Geno Smith is irrelevant.
Yeah. So let's keep looking at stats here. Let's go to Sean's favorite fantasy position.
Nope. I gotta mute
Kickers.
you. You're muted.
That's
it. You've been muted. You're talking about kickers.
That was enough of kickers. Let's go to defense.
I don't even want to talk about this position.
Why?
Nah. For defense.
People want to know good matchups. How about, Cleveland? That was Thursday night. And they got that late touchdown.
Yeah. For me, they're not on this list right here. The Falcons. I think the Falcons are destined to have a good game right there, 7.8. Another team that could have a really good game, the Raiders, right there at 7.8.
Yep.
And
the Jets could have a good game today too.
Yeah, and the Jets, and even the Dolphins could on defense, just because if with Tyreek and Waddle, they could have a kick return or punt return.
Right, that's true.
I mean, that changes everything.
We started off, and I'm going to turn it into a clip here. You did expect that game to go over 100 points.
I'm not saying it's not gonna. I mean, the Baltimore game last week was what, 96? The Baltimore and Dolphins game or something it was. It was like 90 something.
Wow.
Yeah. right there. Partly cloudy with 90 degrees in Miami. The Bills are going to be throwing the ball like it's nothing to Stephon Diggs. Waddle and Hill are just going to have a 100-yard game each. Like, this game is going to be high throwing, no looking, no punting. We're going for it every down. I don't care if we're at the 5-yard line.
So let's keep looking here. We are getting close to the top of the hour here. If anybody's got any more fantasy questions, let us know. Get your lineups in. We still haven't heard an official word on Herbert. So
Herbert or Allen, big 4 o'clock players that are banged up. Julio Jones is questionable at 4 o'clock. Tom Brady's always questionable. He could break something walking out of the locker room at 75 years old.
So let's just go over to let's go see if we have any questions. People like to. We do have a question here. PPR: Lazard, Dortch, or Traylon Burks.
I like Dortch a lot in Arizona too.
Yeah. Yep.
Leonard Fournette's questionable for 4 o'clock. James Conner's questionable for 4 o'clock games. Just looking over. Keenan Allen is questionable, obviously, like I said. Jerry Jeudy for tonight. Julio Jones is questionable. Pretty much Tampa Bay wide receivers. Perryman and Gage are questionable also.
Right.
I mean, Randall Cobb is also at tight end position. No one's questionable, shockingly. And then, obviously, I'm not going to worry about the kicking part.
So let's just get another quick update before we get to the top of the hour. Just like this was the first time they won a game in September in 3 years.
Yeah, you said last week they weren't, or last 2 weeks ago they weren't winning a game in September again.
5 things to watch today. Depleted Bills secondary versus Miami. Offensive line for 0-2 Bengals and Titans in big spots. Herbert in pregame warm-ups. Packers back together. Offensive tackles. So their line's back. San Francisco. Go ahead.
Honestly, to me, the Packers' offensive line being back doesn't change much, just because Aaron Rodgers doesn't get sacked very often. It only helps the running game, and A.J. Dillon has quads bigger than people's heads. He's going to go through whatever he needs to go through. And Aaron Jones is, I think, arguably the best receiving back out of a backfield. I think he took that spot away from Alvin Kamara just because he sees the field so good. And, I mean, he could break off big runs like it's nothing.
Yeah, so let's keep looking here. We got some more. What have we got going on here? Okay.
All right.
Okay, good. He liked our response, so new comments down here. Nope. Let me just finish. We are talking, but we are in an ad break, so I'm gonna wait till the ads are over, just so we don't have to start next stream with ads. Name that jersey.
I have no idea. It looks like a Pittsburgh Panthers.
Yeah, my guess would be Merino.
Yeah. DuPont Panthers.
Let's see here. I don't know. Nobody's answered.
Right there. Right there. DuPont High School Panthers, Randy Moss jersey.
Oh, wow. I because of the colors, I was expecting Pittsburgh Panthers.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
So, Sean, good luck to your team today. Everybody watching, good luck to your teams as well. We got my Jets here. You can always join our Discord and ask questions over there. If not, we'll be back Thursday night to talk about the Dolphins and the Bengals. Yep. I believe it is. So maybe the Bengals, maybe even the Bengals here are looking ahead to that game already. And, the Jets can sneak one out today. But enjoy the games, everybody, and we will be back Thursday.
Good luck in fantasy, everybody.